Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2023 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. Huge shout out to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this muscle car for me today. Check out their website. They have a huge selection of pretty much brand new inventory. That link is down in the description. So this ZL1 is finished off in orange, and I'll go over the MSRP once we go over all the specs and features and get this out on the road. So let's start off with what powers the ZL1. This has a 6.2 liter supercharged V8 that's paired to the 6-speed manual transmission, pumping out 650 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque. That power sent to the rear wheels, propelling this just under 4,000-pound muscle car from 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, with a top speed just shy of 200 miles an hour. Now this also has a fuel capacity of 19 gallons. You'll expect to see around 14 miles per gallon in the city, 20 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 110.7 inches. Its overall length is 190.2. It has a width of 75 and a height of 52.9 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this ZL1, let's talk about the amount of cooling provided to that supercharged V8. You can even see the hollow bow tie for the Chevy badge because that allows some extra cooling, as well as the cutouts both in that grille and the one underneath that also has the ZL1 badge. There's even massive inlets on both sides that don't even have any mesh. It's just a straight shot right through to provide a lot more cooling. Now, of course, this has LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals. There's also a light strip in the vertical position in that lower section. And then we have the very thin housings for those headlights. It matches nicely with that grille. The Camaros are iconic for having that design, along with that sunken in look with the bodywork just underneath that. And then this also has the massive front splitter finished off in gloss black just to tie it in nicely. And then for the hood, this has the carbon fiber section right in the middle and functional heat extraction vents. So all of that airflow has somewhere to exit, which provides better aerodynamics and downforce too. And then you can see the ZL1 badge on both sides of the carbon fiber. It gives it a very aggressive design for this front end. Now, as we work our way to the side, this exterior orange is paired very nicely with this dark gray wheel. This is a 20-inch wheel with that multi-spoke design. This has Brembo brakes with 6 pistons up front and 4 pistons in the rear. You will see more of that gloss black for the lower side skirt, ties in nicely with that front splitter. Body colored side mirrors. This even has a sunroof up top. All of the window trim is blacked out. And then even more aggressive lines going down the side. You can see one just underneath the door handle, all of those contoured lines in the lower section, and then the massive rear fender arch with that line going all the way back to the spoiler. So it definitely has that added aggression to it. And then for the rear, you can see the massive fixed wing finished off in that orange. This has the third brake light in the middle, the 3D dimensional design for these LED taillights. This has a backup camera with all these sensors, and then you guessed it, more gloss black in that diffuser with that quad tip dual exhaust, which we will start up here in just a little bit. Now, as we work our way to the cargo space, you can use the button on the key fob, or there's a hidden button by the backup camera that allows you to open up the cargo space. Now you can see there is a good bit of storage in the back. It's a little bit narrow on this opening here, but once you get items in, you have a lot of space to put in anything that you need to. And then you can even fold down the back seat just to give you a little bit more practicality. There's a slight amount of storage underneath the floor too, but not much. Now there's no grab handle on that trunk lid, but you can easily grab it and be able to shut that. Now, as we work our way to the interior, you'll see this chrome button, which I think should be blacked out with all the other gloss black. That is used to lock the vehicle. You can just grab the door handle to unlock it. And we have a beautiful door panel with all the alcantara, the red stitching. This has the interior ambient lighting, so that is within that brush trim accent there. There's all the window adjustments, side mirror adjustments, even the memory seats, and this has a Bose audio sound system. You can release the trunk, and then there's a little bit of storage on the back section of that door. And then you will notice the leather and alcantara makes its way to these Recaro seats, where we have all the stitching, the piping, the beautiful two-tone design. They are automatic seats, so we have all those adjustments. And then if I pull on that tab there, that's how you can adjust that backrest to hop into the back. From there, if you need a little bit more space, you just have to push that seat forward slightly. But at 5'10", making my way into the back of the Camaro now, you are not buying this for a full 4-seater. So if you have to put someone back here, you have the usability and the space to do it. Wireless charging pad right in the center. But as you can tell, I would not be comfortable but 5, maybe 10 minutes max. Or if you're much smaller than me, you could fit back here if you need to. We have the same attention to detail, however, with the alcantara and the leather. And it's just really there for extra interior storage or that third person if you really need to use it. So it's not the biggest, but you are buying this because you want the practicality and the performance with a little bit more interior space. So as we work our way to the steering wheel now, it is covered in alcantara with more of that stitching. Definitely a beautiful design to it. It has a flat bottom design too. And then on this left side, you will see the heated control along with cruise control, the forward sensor there. And then on the right side, we have Bluetooth and voice commands. There's also volume and your favorites. And then we can use these arrows here to go through the rest of the information within the gauge cluster. So being the manual transmission with my foot on the brake and the clutch, let's bring this to life. And looking at the gauge cluster, on the left side you will see the tach, on the right side is the miles per hour, and then right in the middle you can see the fixed information running across the top, like oil temperature, fuel level, and a few other vitals. And then underneath that, using those arrows on the right side of the steering wheel, we can scroll between miles per hour, look at all of the trip information, there's even a fuel range, you can pull up some other vitals that you can monitor, TPMS. There's even a timer as well, and then a calm screen. And if I scroll over to the left one, that was all of the info. Now if we go into the performance, you can monitor some other vitals here, which is of course nice to have, especially if you're tracking this car. You need to get those tires warmed up. You can look at the electronic limited slip differential, and then we are back to some of these vitals here. Now you can also pull up your audio, pull up the navigation and your phone when you have that paired. And then there's some options that you can go into, even go into a launch control to be able to activate that as needed. So it's nice to have that amount of usable information. And then even though this is a manual transmission, Chevrolet has kept the paddle shifters from the automatic and repurposed them for the rev match. Both paddles do the exact same thing, so I think it's a little bit redundant and even to have these in a manual transmission vehicle. But if you want to activate rev match, simply just tap on one of those paddles. Now on the left side of the steering wheel, you will see all these controls here are for the head-up display. So currently it is showing miles per hour. And then if I use this, I can actually adjust the height of it. Might be hard to see on camera at the moment, but I can pull up the music as well as the compass, even look at the G-force meter and the tach. And then we have just the miles per hour. There's also one air vent on this left side, and you can simply just twist the inside of it there to adjust if you want that opened or closed. Now right in the middle, we have the touchscreen system. On the lower section, if I click on home, you will see the split screen with music and phone. I can swipe over now to a few other icons like audio and phone, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, go into the climate adjustments too. So you have a quick shortcut to be able to get to those, along with the ones that are down below to get into your music, get back to those climates, even pull up the compass when you click on that. And then you'll see temperature and the time on that right side. Now there is a physical button for home as well as tuning, and then the volume control is right in the middle. And then underneath that, you will see the row of toggles going from left to right. We have heated and ventilated seats, along with where you'd like the air to go for your climates. You can sync them, you have AC, fan speed, and some other recircs are right in the middle. And then to adjust the temperature for driver and passenger, simply just twist on the air vent cover itself or surround, and you will see that temperature adjust, and then you can open and close it within the middle. It's very nice to see that integration. The hazards are just in front of that. And then looking at the beautiful Alcantara shifter, all the way over to the right and up is for reverse. You will see that backup camera up here, and then we have the rest of the 6 gears to be able to go through. Now right behind that, there's traction control along with the different driving modes. So you will see Tour, Sport, Track, Snow, and Ice. and just depending on how you want to drive your rear wheel drive Camaro. We have the electronic parking brake along with a 12 volt. There are 2 cup holders. And then for the leather armrest, you will see there's a little bit of storage on the back section there. And then on the passenger side, we have more alcantara for the airbag cover. And then the glove box has an ample amount of space for all of that information. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this does have a sunroof, which is pretty cool to see with that manual adjusting sunshade. There's the dome lights in the middle, as well as the sunroof controls, some OnStar buttons, and this even has the camera system for the rear view mirror. So that is the current setup, and then I can bring up that digital camera. Very, very helpful to have, especially when a lot of people do not like the amount of visibility that the Camaro has with that pillar there. Personally, I think it is okay. It is more than in my R8, but you get used to it, and that is not something that would deter you from buying this 650 horsepower muscle car. Now, as far as getting this out on the road, this model here has about 6 miles on it. So let's jump into an identical ZL1, just a different color, a few other cosmetics that are different, and really see what it's like to drive this ZL1. As we set off now behind the wheel for the all-new Camaro ZL1, this has a starting MSRP right around $67,000. For what you are getting with the ZL1, 650 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque, I don't think you can really complain with that price point. Now, I've seen some other comments on the Camaro with the interior maybe not being as updated as it could be for that money, and honestly, I think you're getting a great interior for this type of vehicle because, let's face it, most people who are buying the ZL1 want that performance. They want all of that power. They want this loud exhaust. We get those pops in it as well. So you're mainly buying this for its performance and what it's capable of doing. Just like this here, we can give it an acceleration now. We have the R888s on the rear of this model here to give us a little bit of extra traction with that rear wheel drive. But yeah, you're buying this because it can be a track monster, it can be a backroads type of vehicle, but it's also comfortable. It can also be a good daily driver. You pop this into tour mode, the exhaust gets much quieter, and you can just take this wherever you need to. So for around $70,000, you're spending more than obviously a basic Camaro, where you could probably get one for the high 20s, maybe they're into the 30s now, somewhere around there. But again, you're getting the performance, the brakes, you're getting the wheels, you are getting that suspension. You can also get the ZL1 with the 1LE package. So the 1LE will give you even more goodies than what is on this 1LE. So let's call this the standard or the basic 1LE. Because you have a lot of room for others. Now, as far as a 3-point turn goes, even with a manual here, it's actually pretty decent. Steering is pretty tight here, which is what you would want for a car like this. I love how that sounds. One thing that I will say though that I'm not a huge fan of is the paddle shifters. On this model, we have the upgraded paddles to make them much larger, but they are just for your rev matching. So you can use both of them to turn on the active rev matching. So you can use either one. Kind of redundant to still have those paddles like that, but they're there. You can use them if you want to. The pedal box though, for the gas pedal, the brake, I can clearly touch both of them with my left foot, and then obviously I have the clutch. So it's easy to rev match yourself, but if it's not something that you know how to do or you're learning to do it, you can have that on if you want to. So, all right, here we go. We get some pops in that exhaust. Boy, does it sound good. This is just a really fun muscle car to drive. Of the three, I think this is probably my favorite. I don't see a whole lot of Camaros a lot, so I like the more rare factor that they do have compared to the Mustang or the Challenger. I just don't see a lot of Camaros. And to me, I think they sound the best. I think this is a really good option to go with. It's very, very practical, has a good amount of space to it. And with a mild acceleration, this has so much power. And we get some pops in that exhaust. I'll try to do that once we turn on this road here to get them to pop more. But from this angle, you can also see the camera system in the rear view mirror, incredibly helpful for this. Now, like I said earlier, visibility is not all that hard. I own an R8 and it's much smaller on the interior than this, so I have no issues with the visibility. I wouldn't let that stop you from buying the Camaro, because the more you drive a vehicle, the more you understand, you know, where your blind spots are and where you need to look. So yeah, I love this interior with all the alcantara. It looks so good. And I think for just under 70 grand, you have a lot of nice materials to give you that upscale look. And you have this exhaust, ready? There we go. That does not get old with that supercharged V8. But let's give it another acceleration here from first gear. Here we go. Not the most aggressive. Boy, does it sound good. I will say the shifter is super notchy too, and I mean that in a good way. I really like how engaging this is to get it into that next gear, so you know you are in whichever gear you're going to. So I love how it has a short throw style to it. Clutch pedal is super light, so you could daily drive this muscle car and just have a good all-around vehicle. If this is your only vehicle, like I said, it's pretty practical for the amount of space that you do get with this. And it's not crazy loud from, I mean, you can hear, hopefully you've been able to hear the pops and everything from that exhaust, but it's not so loud where there's a drone or you just don't want to drive it every day. I think it has a good tone to it to be a daily driver and to have the fun that you want with the spirited driving for this car. So I think it's a really good blend between everything. One thing I also wanted to talk about is the gear skipping. So I am going very, very slow in first gear, and it will actually pop up on the screen to show you that you can go from first to fourth in order to save on your MPG. So it actually tells you to skip gears. Now, it doesn't lock you out of second like in some of the Camaros that I have seen, or sorry, the Corvettes that I've seen, where it will actually lock you out. And when you go from first, it will push you over into fourth gear. So that is something that this vehicle will tell you to do depending on your driving. So I'm going very, very slow right now, so it wants to go to a higher gear to keep the RPM range low. So interesting to see that. We just have a lot of comments about skipping gears. Chevrolet actually has that incorporated into some of their manuals for some better fuel efficiency. And with one last acceleration, we're gonna finish up today's review here. And I think that is going to wrap it up for the 2023 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. Once again, huge shout out to Randy Marion Chevrolet for providing this muscle car for me today. Check out their website, that link is down in the description. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.